Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we got the remaining cards for Rage of the Abyss. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out these new cards. So I'm really excited to show you guys these new cards because we have some absolutely amazing cards for Rage of the Abyss already, but these are actually really cool, almost free agent-like cards that are really interesting for the actual game, even giving us a new auto win card. So let's go ahead and check out and see what these new cards actually do. So first off, we have a new zombie monster, which actually looks really interesting just from the sample image, and this is actually a Titan, which is really interesting. This card is a level 9 Earth zombie effect monster with 2600 attack and 0 defense points. That's some really interesting stats. This card also has 2 effects, and you can only use one of the first or the second effect of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, send as many cards you control as possible to the grave, and if you do special summon this card, then send cards your opponent controls to the graveyard up to the number of cards sent to the graveyard by this effect. Also, neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. That's a really powerful first effect, especially if you're going to be playing this in a zombie deck that's going to be sending a lot of cards to the graveyard anyways, because you can recover cards out of the grave like Doom King Ballardrot and cards like that. Plus, it's very easy to put Zombie World on the field, so this card is actually really interesting for zombie decks and a welcomed addition for zombie decks. This card also has a second effect that if this card is sent to the graveyard except from the deck, you can actually send a card from your hand to the graveyard to send a card from the field to the graveyard, and it's non-targeting, which is really neat that it doesn't target with that send from the field to the graveyard effect. It just instantly gets a card off the field, which is a pretty interesting effect. Overall, I feel like Doom King Ballardrot is still a better boss monster, but this card being a board wipe is still really nice to be able to just get a bunch of cards in the graveyard, especially if you have a second copy of Zombie World already in the hand that you can just activate behind this card, and then on the follow-up standby phase, summon out your copy of Doom King Ballardrot. This card might see one of play in zombie decks, but overall fantastic artwork and just a really cool card overall. So for the next one, we actually have Perfect Lander. This card is really cool. I like the artwork of it being a cat, and that's really neat how you can kind of see it in motion. But let's go ahead and check out and see what this card actually does. It's a level 2 Earth Beast Flip effect monster, which could see play in Mimighoul, it could see play in Sprite, it could see play in Melfi, it could see play in any of those decks. Let's go ahead and see what it does though. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, special summon it in face down defense position, which is that Perfect Landing. And for its second effect, if a monster is sent from the hand and or deck to the graveyard while you control this monster that was flipped face up, you can target one of them and special summon it in face down defense position, which is a pretty interesting effect to be able to use with this card's effect. Just bring up back a monster. That if a monster is sent from the hand or deck to the grave while you control this card that was flipped face up, you get to target one of them and special summon defense position face down defense, which could see play in Mimighoul to be able to bring back a monster to the field. And I really like that effect depending on the next support we get for Mimighoul. Right now, I don't see this card seeing a lot of play, but it's still really interesting to have another Earth Beast monster in the game that we can use for Sprite or stuff like that. Again, I don't see it seeing much play, but it's still pretty neat to be able to have another cat card as well. So for the next card, we actually have Newbie opposed to Wannabe, but this card is actually based on Wannabe, but it's actually really neat because this card actually, I believe, works with Wannabe. It is a light level 2 insect effect monster. Again, I see Sprite because it is a level 2, and it has 0 attack points and 0 defense points, but you can only special summon this card with its first effect once per turn. Also, you can only use its second effect once per turn. If you have a monster with 0 attack and defense in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from your hand, basically by its own effect, you can activate one of these effects and reactivate these effects in a sequence to add a light insect monster from your graveyard to your hand, except Newbie, and place a trap card from your graveyard or your banishment on top or the bottom of the deck, which is helping you recycle your resources while also getting you your copy of your Wannabe out of the graveyard, which is a really cool effect. Plus, it having that 0/0 is really nice to be able to use, because if you have a monster with 0 attack and defense in the grade, you can just instantly special summon this card out to your side of the field. So there's a lot of decks that you can actually tech this card into, but overall, fantastic card. And I feel like this is a welcomed addition for trap decks as well, because you can use Wannabe in those trap decks. Probably going to see play in like Dynamorphia or something like that, because you can recover your Wannabe if you need to. But really cool card overall. I really like this card, and I really think it's going to see a little bit of play alongside Wannabe. So for the next card, this is the one I'm actually the most excited about. And this card is actually going to be a Ruby Sapphirus, the Jewel of Maximum Morphs. This is really interesting. This card is actually a rank 9 Earth Rock XZ effect monster with 2700 attack and 1600 defense. And it takes 2+ level 9 monsters to be able to make this card, and it gains these effects based on the attributes among its materials. And I've already got a really interesting way to actually break this card. So this card actually is a fire if you have fire materials on it. When this card declares an attack on a monster with higher attack points, which is 27, you can make this card's attack become double until the end of the damage step, which is going to make it absolutely massive, pushing it up to 5,400 if my math is correct, which is pretty big to be able to swing. For if it has water monsters as material once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one card you control, negate any card or effect your opponent activates this turn that targets that card, and if this card would be destroyed, you can actually detach material from this card instead. So right out the bat, this is a little bit of an interesting card, and a lot of you might be thinking, well, how are you going to break this card? Easy. You can actually put this card in Generator because it is a rank 9 monster that requires level 9 monsters and material, and you can actually use it with the Fire Generator monster plus the Water Generator monster to be able to make this card very easy to put on your side of the field. Your Val and your copy of your Needhog make this card, giving it both its fire and its water materials, so you can use both of its effects to prevent targeting, which is really cool. I love that about this card. The only downside is it only targets a card and then negates the effect. I wish it didn't negate any card or effect. That basically, well, it kind of helps out, because once per turn, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one card you control, negate any card or effect your opponent activates that targets this card, meaning you can actually protect your copy of your field spell just in case you need to, which is really nice to be able to just protect your copy of your Generator boss stage with this card's effect. And it's going to be pretty easy to put your copy of Needhog on this card, and it's just really awesome overall for Generator. I see this card seeing some play in Generator, definitely, especially since you don't have that many options to be able to play in Generator for rank 9 XZs, and I feel like this is the card I'm the most excited about because it's going to see the most play out of all the cards so far. So for the next card, I absolutely love this card, and they're actually recognizing White Dustin, which is really cool. I really like that because, like, a lot of people have been playing White Dustin inside of, like, Fiendsmith, because it's a light fiend monster that you can summon out with, like, unexpected die and stuff like that. But this card is called Token Alliance. And this card is a continuous spell card, and you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn, as you contribute any number of tokens and then target one monster that you control with 0 attack, and it gains 1,000 attack points for each token contributed until the end of this turn. Also, it can make attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn up to the number of tokens contributed. That is a hilarious effect. So now we're going to be playing Lair of Darkness with Scapegoat and White Dustin to be able to summon your copy of White Dustin to your side of the field with unexpected die, activate Scapegoat during the opponent's turn, flip it up, summon out 4 tokens, activate this, boost it to 4,000, and just completely obliterate your opponent. This is going to be hilarious to see play, and I'm really actually excited about this card because for its second effect, at the end of the opponent's battle phase, you can special summon Alliance tokens that are Beast, level Earth, level 1, 0 attack and 0 defense, out to the number of tokens destroyed during this battle phase. So if your opponent does destroy a bunch of your Scapegoat tokens, you just get a bunch of them back to your side of the field, essentially, which again, it's hilarious to be able to do. So they have to all at once basically go in for your life points, or you're just going to fill up the field with tokens. Again, I feel like this is going to see some play in Lair of Darkness because Lair of Darkness focuses around summoning tokens to the field, and I really think it's going to be interesting to see a lot of tech cards teched into Lair of Darkness to be able to play this card as well, and it's hilarious. This card is hilarious for the artwork, and it's going to be hilarious to see people just win games with this card. Speaking of hilarious, we have a new win condition. So this is called Slapdash Summer School Work Success. What? And what is this artwork? Okay, this card has the ability that activate this card by placing 5 success counters on it. If a monster is special summoned from the X deck and or cards is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a spell or trap effect, you remove a success counter from this card. Then, if there's no success counters on it, destroy it, and if you do, you gain 4,000 life points. Then, set 1 schoolwork success trap from your deck or graveyard. Then, if you have 1 or less cards in your deck, you win the duel. What in the world is this card? This card is wild. It is absolutely insane to be able to just instantly set more copies of this card, gain 4,000 life points, and just basically win the duel. Like, this card is actually a win condition that you can instantly win the duel like Exodia. This card is insane. It's really interesting, and I really like the fact that we have a way to have another weird win condition, because it's always funny to be able to see cards like this that are just auto win conditions, to just see all the different weird decks that can come out of making a deck based around this card. And I really feel like it adds a lot of creativity into Yu-Gi-Oh! To have these auto win conditions like Jackpot 7, cards like this, and I really like them overall, especially when they're like continuous traps and they're really gimmicky to be able to win, and it's hilarious to see. So that's gonna do it for all the new cards that we've gotten today out of Rage of the Abyss, and this actually concludes all of the new cards that we're getting out of Rage of the Abyss, because these are the remaining cards that we were missing for that set. But we still will get TCG exclusives when the set does release in the TCG, so be on the lookout for those. But for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think about these cards down in the comments down below. Out of all of them, I feel like I'm the most excited probably about the new Ruby Sapphirus, the Jewel. I feel like that one's going to be really interesting overall in Generator, but I really like the Token Alliance. Token Alliance is really neat overall, and I'm really excited for that one. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.